Once again, it's the one and only Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, thanks to all of the absolutely incredible contributions from my Optibotimus Plus channel members, we're going to be taking a look at the new Hot Toys TMS009 of the 1/6 scale Flash from the Flash TV series. And this was one I was really very much looking forward to. I am a big fan of pretty much all of the CW superhero shows, and one of my favorites is The Flash. So this was one I was absolutely dead set on getting. For the package, absolutely love what they did with it. You can see you got an absolute gorgeous image, what I'm assuming is of Grant Gustin. I don't know if that's the figure, to be honest, but you can see he's running in a absolute blur of lightning and like speed force, and the fact that it's very metallic looking around the entire thing is super well done. Kind of carries over onto the side as well, and then you of course have the Flash logo in that really nice gold foil text. You got the logo, very nice right there. The side here, much like the other one, just says the Flash. Come on to the back of the package, and you got various warnings and contact information for Hot Toys. And then, much like a lot of them, it is a slip style cover, so this one's fairly tight, so it might be difficult for me to just like this. Oh man, that is really obnoxious. Then when you get the back, you can see a really kind of fun sort of play on everything where it says, how theoretical am I? I love that. Bring this bit right back in. Then you got the logos there on the side. Come around to the front again. You got some lightning effects right there. Advancements in power. Then, of course, you have a slightly open window, which fully showcases the figure as well as all of his accessories. But for the package on this guy, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. And with a little help from the Flash himself, here we have him opened up and out of its packaging. And starting off first, as always, he does come with his instruction sheet, which really doesn't show off too terribly much. It shows how to swap out his head and things of that nature, where to, according to them, properly attach the lightning effects, although realistically, you can kind of put them anywhere that you want, providing you get it how you like it. You know, there's no right or wrong reason, I feel, but that's what they recommend. And then the back, it goes through the range of motion for him, and then some warning points, because there are some sharp aspects of this guy that could be prone to breakage. And coming down first to start off with his accessories, he really doesn't come with a ton. First and foremost, he does come with a pair of relaxed hands that you see that are currently on him. He also comes with a pair of fisted hands, and then a pair of right and left hands here that are more in his like running kind of pose, because when you run, apparently you go like that. So I don't know, when I always run, I run with my fist closed. So I don't know, gives you options for it, but you do have something like that. Also, you know, maybe that's like a reaching out kind of hand. And then as always, you do get a couple extra wrist pegs in case anything happens to the two that are on him. He also does come with a really fun accessory, this being the Jay Garrett helmet, which is kind of an homage to the classic Flash helmet that we have seen in the comic books and things like that. This is absolutely gorgeous, and one of the things that I absolutely love about Jay Garrett in this series is that he was played by my favorite Flash of all time, John Wesley Shipp, who this is the comic book that was based on that TV special. It is my original one. You can see it's a little bit kind of wrinkled in there. I think it got a little bit of moisture damage or something like that, but I love that. And I love that they brought him back to play both his dad, and then, of course, subsequently played Jay Garrett, which was just super cool. Even brought back that classic suit, which I absolutely love. So this is a real nice attention to detail that I really didn't think that they needed to include, but they did. And then, obviously, you have this. If you wanted to, you could do that. I guess. I mean, it doesn't fit terribly well, but hey, look, you could do that. Speaking of which, this is the alternate portrait that we have for him. This is fantastic. I know a lot of people kind of criticize the head sculpt on here. I actually think it looks really good. If I can get it to focus. There you go. It doesn't seem to really want to. But I mean, that is, in my opinion, an absolute wonderful recreation of Grant Gustin. I think that they did a great job. Some people don't like it. I think it looks really good, as this is a suit that is meant to replicate how he looked in Season 1 and Season 2. I think that this is a good facsimile of him in a younger self. Hair looks really good. The likeness, I think, is there. He does have that very thin look to him, which, I mean, I'm impressed with it. I really am. I know a lot of people aren't, but, I mean, to me, it works perfectly fine. So, be that as it may, some people may like it, some people might not. I personally think it's great. The other thing that's really nice is it does come with this remove helmet piece. Now, you're going to put it like this, and I'll show that off here in a little bit, but whenever Barry Allen would take off his helmet or his mask, he was just kind of flopping on the back, and that's what you're able to recreate right there. Real great detail on here as well. You can see that this is actually kind of a separate piece right here where you see different layers, which is really nice, giving it a very real, not really fabric, but a realistic portrayal of how it kind of looked when it would be draping on the back of his head. It does look as if that could literally just come up over and cover up his face. I do dig it. You do have the Flash logos right here. Now, this is something I was talking about. These are very pointy and thin. So if that gets snagged on something, it could easily break those. So definitely be careful with that stuff. And again, I'll show all of this off here in a little bit. Now, as I talked about, you can have this be the Season 1 or Season 2 look for him. Out of the package, you're going to get it with a more Season 1 look. There was not a lot of differences between the Season 1 and Season 2 suits. The biggest difference was the logo. Season 1 had a red background. Season 2 introduced the more classic white background to it. Now, for me, and I know a lot of people really think that the most recent suit is a little bit more comic accurate, and yeah, I do agree with that. But for me, the Season 2 suit is more iconic to this version of Flash. And like I said, there weren't a lot of changes between the suit. A couple material changes for the most part when you look at the on-screen version, but the biggest one was this. And again, I'll show how to swap that out. It's really easy. They got some little pegs right here, which I think is a great way of doing it. So you have the option of going Season 1 or Season 2. Also in Season 2, they introduced this tachyon device. This was actually what enhanced Barry Allen's power and magnified his Speed Force potential. I think it was like 4 times, which ultimately allowed him to travel to different universes. It's how we got basically Wonder Woman and such in it, and I love that they included something like this. And one thing that is definitely different, you can kind of see right here, you can see that this little piece goes up a little bit further than that one does. Now, it doesn't bother me really, but it does kind of take away from it in the fact that this kind of sticks up, but I guess over here is where the extended piece would be, but it literally looks like the logo is smaller. So, I don't know if that was something that they just did to kind of make this work a little bit more, but I love the fact that they included this piece. You also do get this really nice display base. You can see that it is a street sort of style. You got the really nice metallic style Flash logo with the fastest man on Earth right there. It does have a little film on there protecting it. I usually don't take that off. I just leave it on there. But you do have this adjustable cradle, which is very nice for getting running poses. And then you get this background, which again is a very iconic look for it. I want to say that it was like posters and such for like Season 2 or something, but it's done in a Flash sort of thing. And then you can put that right there, have him stand there. Great backdrop. I do really like some of the Easter eggs that you have on here, like the Star Laboratories building right there. You got Queen, because we all know this is part of the Queen universe or Arrowverse, I guess. I do still wish that they were a little bit bigger, just because that's very small. I wish it was a little bit wider. And then, like I was talking about, he does come with 4 different lightning effects, which realistically, like I said, you can put them anywhere, but these are great. It does have a very nice electric look to it, pulling those off and setting him right back there. You can, let me pull up that one of these. I mean, the translucent nature of it is really good, and then there's a really nice gradient element in here, which does give a very, very cool, and like I said, very metallic look to it. I absolutely dig it. It's some of the best lightning effects that I've seen, and we've gotten a couple of them with like Thor and things like that. These absolutely look terrific. I love them. And whether you have him running or not, because even when he would stand stationary after he would run for a while, these little lightning effects would always still be flickering throughout his entire body. So you could just have him standing there with these on there, which I think, again, is a really cool touch that really enhances the display of him. But for his accessories, that's about it. Like I said, not a lot, but still some really good ones nonetheless. Now, coming in to take a closer look, again, I really think they did a great job with the likeness here. Bringing in the actual unhelmeted portrait, to me, it does look very, very similar. Obviously, there are two different expressions going on here. He's got a little bit more of a smirk, whereas he's got a little bit more of a stern face. Now, one thing that I did see in a review from my good friend Justin's collection, he talked about how this would have been a perfect opportunity for them to include a swappable faceplate, which is entirely possible. One of the aspects that's really nice about this head sculpt is that it's actually at the base magnetic, and you can see on the inside here is just a faceplate. So you easily could have swapped that out. That would have been a real nice additional way of including some accessories, because as I talked about, he's kind of light on them. But what's great about this is that you can use that neck joint at the bottom and then that right there to really get a very cool higher up running looking pose. I love how they actually did that. That's really cool. But again, great detail all the way around. That is a really very well done head sculpt in my opinion. I know I'm probably going to be getting some people that disagree, but I think it looks great. Now, one part that does stand as a definite negative on this is the different coloration in the materials. You can see that you have some regular fabric with this lighter red, and then the darker section is more of a pleathery type of material. But it does stand out, and well, yeah, in the show, there was a difference. This should be darker. At no point in time in Season 1 or Season 2 was there this much of a contrast. So that is definitely unfortunate. And one aspect that I really think that they could have improved upon. Now, while I'm up here at the top, I want to show the swapping nature of some stuff. So first, if you want to remove the head, you're just going to take this piece off and then grab hold of this, pull that out just like so. That's just a ball joint. And then obviously, if you want to remove the helmet, you don't have to put that on, but I mean, he usually had it there. So just take this, bring this down, peg that down. That ball joint is really stiff, so getting that in there creates that look which he had a lot of the time, and I think that that drapes beautifully and looks outstanding. That is one of the most realistic, unhelmeted sort of drapes that we've gotten before. I mean, we've gotten some before, like with Spider-Man and stuff. This looks very realistic. I absolutely dig it. And then with the chest plate here, literally you just kind of take that, pull it off. You can see that you've got two little holes. You got a bigger one at the top and a smaller one at the bottom, which allows you to know which holes to put in there. And then you can take this and match those holes up, which, let's see if I can do it. There we go. And now you have that more Season 2 look for him, which again, I absolutely love it. I love that overall look. This is probably my preferred look for him and how I'm going to display him. And then if you wanted to go even a little bit further, do the tachyon section. Again, bring this in, find the bigger hole, find the smaller hole, line that up like that, plug that in, and now you have the tachyon device, which kind of looks a little bit smaller than I really remember. I thought it was a little bit bigger in the show, at least taking up more of the chest piece itself, but I love that because, again, that was a very kind of important tool that created the multiverse in the Arrowverse, allowing huge crossovers with Supergirl, and then even later on with the Crisis in Infinite Earth storyline, allowing him to go and see a ton of other characters like Burt Ward, Kevin Conroy as Bruce Wayne, Alexander Knox from the 1989 Batman, and one of the most exciting elements, bringing in Ezra Miller from the DC movie universe into their universe. Super freaking awesome. But I'm going to remove this and just put the regular logo on there, just because that's, again, my preferred look for him. So just plug that in. If I can find it, there we go. But the rest of the suit does look good, other than the coloring. Now, also one of the things that was different in Season 1 and Season 2 were these lines. Now, again, my friend Justin's collection complained about them in terms of them being a black color. I don't necessarily think they're black. I mean, they kind of look black, but as I'm going around here, it just looks like they're extraordinarily dark red. Maybe almost to the point that they're black. I mean, I'm trying to look real close. They do kind of look black, but he did have those lines, and they were prominent in more so, I want to say season 2 than in season 1, but they were there. They were not as thick as they are, and it does kind of stand out as just some little squiggly lines, but it's not a deal breaker for me. But you can see you got some nice gold going throughout the entire thing, kind of pinstriping all the way around his body. One of the other elements that was different between season 1 and 2, where he does have these little finger sections right here, but you can see that this is a darker element in season, again, I'm kind of confusing them. I think in season 2, these darker bits on the tip were a lighter color that would be more in line with what we're seeing here. You got those lightning effects here on the belt. Again, those are a little bit stiff and very pointy, so be careful with those. And then those ones in the back. And you can see there is a nice blend of this leather-like material and then the fabric throughout the entire body, even when you come down here to the knee. And then obviously the boot, which I also do love the detail on the bottom of them. So tremendous amount of detail with the guy. And again, like I said, I love the fact that you can interchange between season 1 and 2, because season 1 was his debut, but season 2, and having this look, is for me my favorite look of the Flash from the TV show. Now, for his articulation, for the most part, it's really good, but there is one part I think that really could have been done better. With this head sculpt on, you do have a ball joint down here. There's nothing up here, which is perfectly fine because it creates a nice seamless look up here at the top, but you get a good full range of motion with that. If you pop that off and drop that, bring this in, again, you want to line things up. You can see that the straight lines here are going to be in the back, so just kind of fit that in there, give that a good, there we go. All right, that's in there nice. So you do have that base down there, but then you bring this in and you have that, and because it's magnetic, again, you get a huge amount of mobility with it, which I love. The way the suit is also designed, a lot of the articulation points are where the fabric is, so you don't have to worry too much about the leather kind of folding and deteriorating, so you can rotate that around. You pretty much get a full range of motion there, and then the elbows get a nice 90-degree range of motion, but again, you can kind of see here it stretches, which is really kind of a credit to the designers of the suit and Hot Toys for recreating it, so that's really very nice. There is an ab crunch right up here and also a rotation, but the suit does kind of limit a little bit of that. Hips move forward and back. It is a little bit more restricted with this, but you can see that you can kind of get it up there pretty decently. In and out. You do have a rotation at the upper part of the thigh. Come down to the knees, and again, much like the elbows, you do have this expanding section right here, which gets a good range of motion. This is where the articulation suffers, though. The ankles. And again, shout out to Justin for pointing this out, because I totally agree. There is no split boot here. Now, you can rotate it perfectly fine, and you can kind of see that it does sort of flex, and it kind of stays there for the most part, but yeah, all in all, and then you can even do that on an angle sort of thing, so you can get a little bit wider opposed. So there is some playability in there, but a split cut boot there would have been so much better for creating a running pose, because as it is, you're going to bend these legs, and you're going to have this. I mean, that would be cool if you can actually flex that to have that on the ground and then have that kind of bent back so that you create more of that dynamic running pose. It is definitely unfortunate that they chose to go with that and not, I mean, because you easily could have created a cut right there. I mean, there's all this stuff in here which wouldn't have ruined the look of it at all, and would have allowed you to create some more of those dynamic running poses that obviously a lot of people are going to want to do because it's the Flash. So that is a definite negative in my opinion. Overall though, in my opinion, a great release, but not without some issues. As you can see, display wise, the guy looks great. But this is kind of what I was talking about, where I wish this was a little bit bigger, especially for photography. If this was wider, it would be so much better. Another thing that I really wish they could have done differently would have been the boots. As you can see, it looks fine, but it doesn't really look natural. When you're running, your feet are not going to be just on their tiptoes like that. That could have been done so much better in my opinion. I also think that the coloration of the suit could have been much closer to one another. As mentioned, at no point in time was there that much of a contrast between the two colors in Season 1 or Season 2. But there's also a lot that is really good about this figure. The likeness on both the helmeted and unhelmeted portrait, I think, is great. I look at it and I absolutely see the actor Grant Gustin. I also love the fact that you can pretty much change from Season 1 and Season 2 with swapping out the logos. While on the subject of swapping things out, I do wish that they made it where you could swap out the mouth plate, but between just the, I guess, kind of more happy, smirkier look that this guy has and the more stern look that this one has, I'm okay with it. But like I said, he is kind of light on accessories, so adding pieces like that could have helped round things out. For the most part, I am really happy with this release. While I did have an unlicensed third-party one in my collection for the longest time, frankly, I didn't think that Hot Toys was ever going to do anything from the CW shows. I am super happy that this one has come out, and I am happily replacing that third-party one with this. I just wish they would do more. As I mentioned, the CW shows are some of my favorites. I would love it if we could get a Green Arrow, and maybe even a Supergirl. So hopefully this is not the only one from those TV shows that they do, but if it is, it's a good one for me. But there you go, guys. There's my look at the new Hot Toys Flash from CW's The Flash. If you'd like to add this guy or any other Hot Toys figures to your collection, do it by going to Big Bad Toy Store, where for free they double box the figures, have outstanding customer service, and in general, just a better buying experience. If you'd like to add them to your collection, I'll put a link right down there in the video description where you can head on over to BBTS and check out availability on this guy, as well as any other Hot Toy figures. But that's it, guys. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, do me one real quick thing and hit that thumbs up button, especially if you like that lightning effect thing that I did earlier on. That took me a while to do. And finally, remember that the real trouble with the world is that too many people grow up. Thanks for tuning in and taking the time to be a kid.